Hi, friends. Your brain sings before you do is a term I use a lot when I'm talking about NeuroVocal for popular styles because that's what it's kind of based on. It's the fact that your brain sings before you do. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I want to start with a couple of stories about how your brain predicts and the ways that it shows up in real measurable physiological ways. There's so many examples of this. The first story is about a study that's really easy to find on the internet, so you can look it up if you want, but it's about wine tasting. It's about a study in which the participants of the study were offered 3 glasses of wine, and the glasses of wine were indicated by their price. And the people tried the wine and then they rated which wines they thought were better. And then, of course, you know the punchline. All 3 glasses of wine were from the same bottle. Overwhelmingly, people rated the more expensive wine as being better tasting, even though it was the same wine. Were they lying? Were they trying to be pretentious? Absolutely not. That was a prediction that their brain was making based on the available information. Their brain has learned through inference over time to associate higher priced things with a better quality of things. And so their brain inferred that because of the higher price tag, this was a better tasting wine. They experienced the wine as being better. So that's one little study that I want to share about how our subjective reality can be influenced by the predictive brain. The other study was out of Columbia University, and it showed how our bodies actually respond physiologically to our beliefs. It was called the mind-over-milkshake study, in which the participants were offered 2 milkshakes, one of which was called Sense-a-Shake, and they were told that it was 140 calories. The other was called Indulgence, and they were told that it was 620 calories. What happened was that the people who... Okay, wait, I have to tell you about this hormone. So in your stomach, you have this hormone, which is called ghrelin, and it's the hunger hormone. So when you need food, this is an interoceptive experience, right? Your stomach tells your brain, hey, we need something to eat down here. And then you get hungry and you go looking for food. Your brain tells you to look in the refrigerator over and over again, even though it's the same thing every time. We have these 2 shakes, right? One of them is 620 calories and one of them is 140 calories. The people who drank the 140 calorie milkshake experienced hunger sooner. Their ghrelin was released sooner. I don't remember how much sooner, but it was significant. It was more than an hour sooner than the people who had the shake that they believed to be 620 calories. In reality, both shakes were exactly the same and they were 300 calories, but people's physiology actually responded differently based on their beliefs. Isn't that interesting? And I'm going to tell you about why that matters in singing in just a second. My name is Meredith Colby. I am the author of Money Notes, How to Sing High, Loud, Healthy, and Forever, which introduces NeuroVocal, a way to approach singing for popular styles that is based on brain science, which we are talking about today. You can find information about coaching one-on-one with me or taking my NeuroVocal teacher and coach training through my website, NeuroVocal.com. Why do we care about wine and milkshakes and how our subjective assessment affects our physiology if we're talking about singing? Well, because these are examples of predictive processing and constructed reality, which we are not going to talk about a lot because they are very in-depth subjects. But the reason it matters to us as singers is because of how we experience our practicing and our coaching session in relation to our performances. I'm going to assume that you and I are very similar in that when I practice at home, I am in an acoustic environment. I am in my studio or in my kitchen or in the shower. I will sing in the car. I don't call it practicing. I call it food for the soul when I sing in my car. But the point is, these are all very acoustic environments and I sing acoustically. Sometimes, often, I practice with a microphone with my little practice speaker so that I can continue to develop that because singing on a microphone is different, but that's another broadcast. Anyway, in that environment, I can still hear myself really, really well. And in all these environments, I can hear myself really, really well. A. And B, I am in an environment that I'm extremely familiar with. My brain does not have to do a lot of extra work in terms of paying attention to what's going on around me because it already knows. It has predicted. It predicted my space I'm in. It predicted what I sounded like. It knows my shower and my kitchen. My brain knows, and it's not spending a whole lot of extra cognitive energy trying to process any kind of like new sonic environment. So now I go on the gig and I may or may not be able to hear myself. And either way, the way that I'm hearing myself is radically different on the gig with the band through the monitors amplified than it was in my house and probably not amplified. So my brain doesn't really know how to predict for this environment. If I've taught myself to relate to my singing based on what I hear, once I can't hear myself or I'm hearing myself very, very differently, then all that's kind of thrown out the window. Furthermore, your brain can't pay attention to everything all at once. Your brain is constantly filtering information through the process of attention and deciding what to pay attention to. So now you're on the gig. You're probably in a place you've never been before because that is the nature of these things. You are familiar with your band, but the sound is different because the sound is always different based on where you are, how many people are there, what's the setup, all the things, right? So it sounds different. You're getting all this visual stimulus about the space you're in, about these strangers, the lights, the distance between you and the other players, all the stuff. So you're getting all that visual information and the environmental information and the sonic information. You have all this stuff that is unfamiliar to you and your brain is in overdrive. And in the middle of all that, it's really looking for something it already knows because brains like to predict. So it's looking for something it's already familiar with. Your brain really wants to hear what you sound like. And that's why you want to stick your finger in your ear so that you can hear yourself. And that's why you're telling the sound man, more beat in the monitors, even though that probably won't fix it. So why am I telling you all this? Because there is part of your sensory experience that is reasonably stable. And that is your interoceptive experience of your own voice. When you make sound, you create movement. You physically move, and the air that is moving creates vibration, which is movement. So if you can teach your brain to stop paying attention to all that out there and instead start paying attention to this really specific sonic experience that you're creating, this experience of movement and vibration, then you have something solid that is reasonably reliable. I mean, colds and, sinus infections notwithstanding, you do have something that's pretty darn reliable. Anyway, that's one of the things we teach in NeuroVocal. I just wanted to share this idea with you so that you could think about how to work with your predictive brain instead of pushing against it. I'm Meredith Colby. Have a great day. Bye-bye.